It's a dancing morning. Oh la la. We're back on your screens. I've been trying to find a word to describe the weekend. From the CID invitation of some politicians to the Black Stars completely and totally extinguishing the support fire to Kenya and to North Korea. It was such a weekend that I've been trying to describe, but hey, I can't find a word. Maybe if you can find a word, you can let that one. But I feel all the same great because time to pick up the pieces and begin a new week. I don't know how I'm enjoying and feeling, but well, it's a mixed feeling for me.
I mean, Senior Bright, as you said, I'm feeling cool. I mean, the Teshi people wrapping up their festival, the folks in the central region wrapping up their fashion. And also you have Thomas Adote Papo. Finally, he says he consummated. Yes, he said he consummated his union. So congratulations to him. So it was a freaky, funky weekend. KSM was honored as well at the Ghana Comic Awards. So you're asking when you do yours. Oh, but we thought that you told us that you were putting together a date. Say again.
There's always
like a line.
I'm an African man, and you know that.
So you have choices.
You know that.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, good morning, guys. Hope you had, like you've already said, I'm sure you had a fantastic weekend. Fortunately, I did too, but I still feel tired. I wish I could take a day off, but I didn't. I'm here because of you.
It depends on what you did yesterday. What did you do yesterday?
Surprisingly, I rested after church.
Up night to watch Ghana's Most Beautiful.
Oh, up to 10 o'clock. I was on Ghana's Most Beautiful.
That's what I was going to say. I didn't do any work watching.
Okay, yeah. We understand you.
Yeah.
We understand you. We understand you.
Bright knows me very well.
We'll send you a manual on how to stay up at night, okay?
Anyway, but I mean, when Black Stars lost, Bright was the first person I called, and I said, Bright, you know that the prayer you've been praying has worked. Finally, we are not going. So, and he says, "Oh, it wasn't Black Stars. I'm against this, you know, the whole side."
But this is not Black Stars. Even before the match was played, Bright had told us.
That's what I'm saying. So I just
felt to qualify.
Yes.
And it is not that I am against Kwesi Appiah. I'm against any of this, but I think that the way and manner they brought the man back to handle the team was wrong.
Right.
Look, when we were kids, we used to play this ball we call a mine ball.
Okay.
The football that is done with
the glue,
latex. Okay. Now, see, when you deflate it and inflate it again, it is not the same when you're playing it. And this is what exactly the GFA and those who were in charge did to Kwesi Appiah. And that is what I was complaining about. That you took a man off a team, for me, disgracefully. That's how I see it. And then after some few stints in Sudan, of all places, you said you have now found Kwesi Appiah to be the man to handle the team. You bring him back. How were you expecting him to lead the team? An army commander who deserts a team and comes back. You think he will get that respect? I watched the match. At a point in time, Ghana's Black Stars had 5 coaches on the touchline. That was I mean, I was like, really? 5 coaches. Kwesi Appiah shouting, Tanko shouting, Asamoah shouting, Richard Kinson shouting, what is the other one?
Stephen Appiah was on the side.
Stephen Appiah also shouting. 5 coaches. 5 coaches for one team. I watched Germany play, I think, Czech Republic. Joachim Low was sitting down throughout the 90 minutes, only issuing instructions. Black Stars had 5 coaches.
Who do they listen to?
I don't know. This one says pass here, other one says pass here. So,
but you know that in Africa we work hard, we don't work well.
I was really scandalized last Friday.
Yeah, I mean, it's a struggle. Because every time we look forward to World Cup, and then, you know, that's when the nation seems to unite on football platforms. But unfortunately, Ghana.
I was really scandalized. And I saw it from the beginning. The man is not in charge. He's not. If a team has 5 coaches on the touchline, how can the team play? Anyway, we'll see what happens tomorrow when they play against Congo.
Right. This is the microphone that you need to speak into
to get to the GFA.
The GFA. Yeah. So Kwesi Appiah will hear you through the microphone.
It's not Kwesi that I mean, the guys at the FA, I don't know what's wrong with them anyway.
So what happens to the foot soldiers who were promised to go?
The trip. Yeah. If they have passport, they can go on their own.
Our brothers, Nigeria, are almost there, so maybe they can
join them and go and support on behalf of.
Amma is talking about the foot soldiers who were promised that they will be taken to Russia.
Yeah, I'm
so if they have their own passports.
And Bright is saying they can't
join.
No,
I'm saying that Nigeria is almost, I'm sure Nigeria will be able to beat Cameroon tomorrow. They beat them 4-0. So they should be able to beat Cameroon tomorrow. And then maybe we can go and throw our support behind
with whose money?
Okay, Bright's pocket money. Anyway, guys, let's start off with the Finder. It says 4,024.
Take your time.
4,020. No.
400,000, I guess, plus.
What is this?
424,000.
Yes, 424,092 to enjoy free SHS. Will it end in the misery of over 100,000 students who are placed each year but fail to report? Also, Cosmos doles out over $100,000 to fund agri startups. President Akufo-Addo urges Muslims to remain worthy ambassadors of peace. And then finally, 2017 revenue mobilization exercise takes off this week. That's coming from AMA.
Okay. Okay, so already the placement exercise running into some challenges. We're told about 100,000 of them can't be placed. And so the GES has extended the deadline for to allow them to go and search for schools. So I have always said that.
So the schools are not there? The capacity
no,
the
schools are there, but you were placed at Accra Academy. You didn't get it, so you need to go shop for another school.
Right.
100,000 of them involved. I have said that this was going to run into some difficulty. The president acknowledged that. Hey, we will run into
teething problems.
But we'll get out of it. We'll deal with it and be able to go.
I had some distress calls over the weekend, and I think Steve NTA did saying of some parents who are complaining that their children had admission, but then they get there and
their names
aren't there. But on your sheet that just printed for you, your name is supposed to be there. They get there, their names are not there, and they are wondering how you calculate with your best. Yes,
and you calculate on the sheet.
Yes, the placement, but they get there and their names are not there. Plus the calculation that is done with their name. So you find that you're supposed to be calculated with that top 3, but then they realize that the calculation has been done with their worst 3.
Oh, I see.
Your top 3 is supposed to be the base for calculation.
Aggregate.
Right.
Is it 6 or 3? It's usually the best 6.
You see, English, science, and maths are constant.
Basic, then any other.
Beautiful. Your top elective. Beautiful. But then
they do their own calculation. They realize
so the computation doesn't seem to be
it doesn't sit well. So, for example, if the person chose, say, Wesley Girls or Accra or Adesada or Gasco, whichever it is, then they realize that
they didn't make it because of their computation.
Because of the computation, and they are really worried. They suspect that some people may have paid monies to get in them. I'm worried because if we're trying to teach our children to be honest, to be disciplined, dedicated, and have integrity and trustworthy and all of that. And we've already started, if that's true, started paying money for them to swap others for them to get a chance. Then what are we teaching them? Because they are now getting into secondary school. So secondary school, uni, national service, they get into the work area and they know that, oh, if you can't get in by fair means, you can do so by foul means. And for me, that's a big concern.
So it could have been a genuine mistake on the part of those who were doing the calculation?
Well, if it's one or two, if it's one or two,
then they should be prepared to rectify it. And they should know they have to give these people priority, because then there's no fault of the children or the parents that the computation has been done wrongly. But I'm looking at, even within the same time frame, already we're having challenges. If they rectify it, is this child assured that he's going to get?
So it's tomorrow.
Where's the space? I mean, the point is that, Senior Bright.
Because, you know, Bright, if, let's say, that child paired their calculation, they know they'll get a 6. And so Wesley Girls should take them. But now you've given them, say, 11. And so you've sent them to, let's say, the 4th choice school or even the 3rd. But that's not what they're supposed to get. Now you're going to tell them, well, it's too late, and just settle with what you get.
I'm hoping GS will confirm whether the calculation was wrong or right.
I've not heard a statement from them as well. But if you go onto social media as well, beyond the calls that we had, if you go onto social media, there are people who are there, they are upbeat about it, parents who are so disappointed about it, and they thought that, well, the advent of the computer placement system was supposed to rectify some of these things where the human errors are supposed to be taken off. and the machine is able to identify and then do that. So if now we have the computation and it's being done in a manner that will disadvantage somebody, they will not be happy about it.
So GS should really do something about it.
I hope the GS will come out. Of course, I would not be surprised if the GS comes out to say that, well, the computations were wrong. Because even the letter they wrote releasing the results was
grammar
in a way that I was
hiccup.
surprised about it. That the students were told that they can take any senior high school in any country of their choice.
Yes. And I want whether we are exporting.
So they can go to Zimbabwe,
students.
maybe or Kenya. If I mean,
was that what they really wanted to say?
Take the various senior high schools in any country of
but
their
the thing was signed by a professor, so a professor knows everything.
So maybe those who have not been placed
in Ghana can try Togo.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, but that's on the lighter side.
We're being warned not to go to Togo, so I mean, they should choose maybe Kenya.
The Togolese are
so let's see how it goes.
Anyway, so let's move on to Daily Statement. It also says BJA cautions against media trial of perceived corruption. That's on page 3. Also, how Mahama and Co. got it wrong in Kenya. Uhuru Kenyatta null and void. See stories on page 2. And then finally, embrace free SHS. President appeals to Muslims. But really, did Mahama and Co. get it wrong? They were only observers.
No,
well,
I think that
their role is very limited.
Some of these headlines only perhaps we are either what I keep asking is if we know the role of observers.
Exactly.
I think the court has made it clear that the voting proper was excellent. It's the transmission of the result that has run into trouble. Observers, I don't know how deep they can go into transmission results in terms of checking what is done right or what is done wrong. But I mean, I have been listening to people, I've been talking to people. I do not think that anybody at all can fault observers for what has happened. I mean, they did their best, and so really, they don't have
I was very surprised that, I mean, President Mahama's name was trending on social media when the declaration was made by the Supreme Court and gave the 60-day ultimatum. It's now about some 58 days to go. I was surprised. I was thinking, okay, so what did he do? Because he had advised Mr. Odinga to go to court consistently. In fact, at the time when he told Mr. Odinga refused that option. Yes, he refused it twice before he went to court. And it's clear how our systems can work, at least in Africa. And sadly, people have decided to sweep that under the carpet, and they are focusing on picking on an individual. In any case, President Mahama was not the only observer there.
John Kerry was
there. He was there with a lot of people.
South African President Thabo Mbeki also led, I think, the AU team.
So there's a tall list of eminent people from Africa, and to focus on just one person is marks of how our politics has become and how we want to export that into other nations. For me,
Johnny,
it is not good.
Could it be ignorance about what observers do?
I think so. Or it could be pure mischief. It could be pure mischief as well.
Just because someone aligns with a particular political party, I mean, everything Mahama does has to be wrong.
We must slob you off.
You know, definitely. Because observers, like the English word explains, you only look. There's nothing you touch.
I am happy
for
Kenya that, you know, they've had to go take the... Then I'm sure that at this point, all the parties will be very vigilant and they'll watch how the collation is done properly.
In our history, this will be the first in Africa.
Yes, democracy, and for me, I'm happy. I'm happy. And mind you, we had a similar opportunity as Ghana, you know, and we went to court and
Johnny,
yes.
Over the weekend, I heard our men of God, or our voice of God, that's how I call them, our social commentators, shouting, oh, Ghana should have been the country to have this bragging rights as being the first African country to have annulled a presidential election. Please, you see, we should for once take some of these things with
if somebody takes a matter to court and the judges look at it and the matter has no merit or the matter didn't, why should they what's the point?
Johnny, we pride ourselves that we're the first country
sub-Saharan to have achieved
on the other side of the Sahara to have gotten independence first. What have we done with it? what have we done? Those who got independence earlier, after we had, are now
way ahead of us.
Way ahead of us. Rwanda and the rest. So what is this idea that Ghana should have been the country to have the bragging right? Please, and do what we did. We have had first in several situations, and yet those behind us have now come to pass. So for me, the only thing I'm sad about the Kenyan election, that this is an African country that is struggling. If you look at the level of poverty in Kenya, you'll be surprised at it. But if that country has to use about 1% of its GDP to conduct another election, that's where I am worried about, because it's a lot of money that could have gone to get a lot of the poverty-stricken people in Kenya out of where they are. Now we have to go back and rerun the election. I would have loved to see the court say that, look, we know that this constituency, that constituency had issues with transmission of the results. So let's rerun those elections in those constituencies instead of lumping
the court. I mean, as of last Friday,
that's why I'm worried about, particularly with the fact that there's a lot of money that will have to go into.
As of last Friday, Senior Bright, the court was here to release the full the ruling, you know, the compact ruling. And I know that in Africa, a lot of our elections and our budget is even supported from outside. I think that we're trying to run away from. So perhaps, I mean, they know where they're going to get funding from. But nonetheless, I agree with you 100% that we waste money on things that we're not supposed to be wasting money for. But then it's also
argue that
it's also important
to waste the money and keep the country together.
Yes, it's also important, and I was going there. It's also important. But you see, we could have forestalled all of this if we had a piece of integrity out there at the time when we were just counting, because the election was free and fair. People had gone to make their choice. Why do you change it? What is the point in being corrupt in that? Why? What is it?
Let's pray for them. But I am not.
In any case, the Chief Justice takes his instruction from the State House, from Mr. Uhuru's office. But he decided that, look, this is not it.
And on the face of the evidence.
Exactly, what we have. He pushed it out.
And again, Johnny, let me remind our politicians. I heard some of them over the weekend also suggesting that Uhuru Kenyatta, what he said about the Kenyan judiciary is wrong. And I am only using this as a reminder that when you point a finger at an accused person in front of you, just check where the three
are facing.
Okay, apart from the thumb, are pointing. Okay, see. We have on record in this country, a politician has gone to tell the Supreme Court of our land that when politicians are in their comfort zones, in front of their supporters, in their own radio stations, they are overtaken by something they call Bishi, so they can say anything. Okay? And so the judges should look at that and perhaps temper justice with mercy. It should be a caution to our politicians that when you are on the political platform, watch what you say. Exactly. Look, I saw Uhuru Kenyatta address Kenyans and said that I disagree with the results, but I accept it. Now he goes to speak to his supporters and says, we have a problem with the judiciary. Okay, so our own politicians here should learn from what has happened to Kenyatta. Look, if he wins the rerun, he will be remembered as a president who threatened the judiciary. If he loses the rerun, he will be remembered as a president who threatened the judiciary. And only God knows what will happen to him and the judiciary if he wins, knowing what he had said. So our politicians should learn from what has happened to him. Be careful when they're on the political platform, and be careful about what they say. For me, that's why I will end the Kenyan issue. But we'll pray for them.
Senior Bright, you mentioned Bishi. The other counterpart is probably
Yes.
And then when it is in showbiz, they call it bipolar. So people misbehave and they say they have bipolar.
Okay. It reminds me of, what's the name? Wow, God, I forgot. Wiser.
Yeah, Wiser, great. Okay.
Anyway, maybe let's touch on the last one
here. It's
a
professional latrician from Binduri.
Johnny, be careful. Anyway, so Daily Heritage says, stop using mobile phones while driving. NRSC chair appeals to drivers. Also, Galamsey, the major cause of war. Historian Dr. Ofosu-Mensah Babiu of University of Ghana writes in today's edition of Heritage. Then finally, no classroom for free SHS at Asisewa.
The mobile phone thing, sometimes you find that the police themselves who are supposed to be effecting the arrest are speaking on the mobile phone while they are driving. And I know that they have their own communication gadgets in there. So if they need to communicate with their command center or whichever it is, they would rather use that. But I don't know what's up with their mobile phone that you find them using. So once they are offending the law, they can't call people to order. But we know how lives have been lost when people have focused on. There's hands-free. The modern cars that we have these days, you can just activate it and speak. It's surround sound.
Aux cable you can connect to your phone. There are Bluetooth devices. I mean, your life is more important than that 2-minute, 2-second phone call. If you need to, if it's an emergency, just park off the road so that you don't obstruct or you don't cause accident to another person, unsuspecting individual who will die because of your, in quotes, you know.
You are either wise or
the other
otherwise.
One. Yes. So I mean, let's save ourselves and save others. So
what I think the National Road Safety Commission should start doing is to start liaising with the police to prosecute people
who do that.
You know, because too much of the talk, education has gone on. So let's go to the next stage and let's deal with it. Speaking of which, where's the Galamsey fight?
We're
still
told that
fighting there.
Because of war somewhere. But Johnny, there's a story here. The Asisawa, okay, we'll take this story and tie it into
the free.
No, let's do the times. The MPTMA were told clashing over demolition of illegal structures. Let's look at this story and see what is in it today.
While we look at that,
yes, let's start that story into it. It's the same thing.
Well,
right?
It says
dealing with
a demolition exercise by a Tema Metropolitan Assembly task force to clear illegal structures in front of the Cocoa village in Tema Community 2 ended in confusion as the Deputy Minister of Transport, a Member of Parliament for the Tema West, Carlos Ahinkra, led the residents to attack the task force. The Deputy Minister, who was unhappy with the exercise, led the owners of the structures to resist the exercise undertaking on Thursday.
Okay, so that's what the Assembly in Tema is doing, and
we're told, as well.
Yeah, there was a clash. But what is really happening in Accra is, for me, what is sometimes worrying. I mean, what the AMA officials, not the entire Accra, but the jurisdiction of the Accra Metro Assembly, what they're doing to people, young men with just a simple table, not of the size of even a basic school desk, selling credits. And then at 5 p.m. when he's knocked off, he takes the table away and he's gone to his home. And the AMA guys are simply driving him away. And yet go to certain places in Accra and see structures, permanent structures sitting there, and yet no one is acting.
You know the hypocrisy sometimes of the AMA that I've come to. I mean, right from the days of Mr. Nadunu Amatefu through to Jerry Blankson, through to Mayor Van der Poel, and now Nia J. Soa. The hypocrisy of the AMA is that they pick and choose the issues that they want to deal with. I have gone to Numobla for so many times and showed him photos of the Kaneshi market where the guards who are supposed to be driving the people off the footbridge are actually there on the footbridge with the people, chatting with them. I've shown him photos. I have them. I put them on my social media platform. I've shown him photos of people at Odoko, photos of people at Makola and all the other places where they say effective. They will write very nice English and say effective today. So now, here you have people there obstructing traffic, causing discomfort to everybody. You have left all of them and even giving them guards. Now here's a young man who is trying to make ends meet, or a woman, a widow perhaps, who is selling fruits and ice water.
And it's not a permanent table.
That your people, yes, it's not a permanent thing. And your people come to buy these things from them. And then you just wake up one day and you flash them out. In any case, they are not sitting on public property. They are sitting on somebody's private property, the frontage of somebody's private property.
I'm saying that
and you want to put public or private. These are makeshift structures that can easily relocate if need be. But those that are their permanent structures, you've neglected them and are tackling, let's say, the small fish.
And I'm saying that when you tell lies as well, and you put a national security twist to it, because we contacted them and they said no, they have no hand in this one. So obviously you're telling lies to cover up the things that you're supposed to be doing. People are selling in the medians. I mean, highway. You see them. And you pretend as if you don't see them.
A few months ago, they came screaming and burning and doing all sort of stuff.
The people are back at Circle. The people are back at Circle.
Please, we got to be serious as assemblies. Look, for me, in our effort to beautify the city, we cannot do that and destroy the very small businesses that the people are doing. There are no jobs. Young men and women are finding ways. I'm not saying that in their effort to have something to eat, they should do the illegal, no. But I think that if a young man has a simple table painted in any of the colors of the mobile telecommunication networks and is selling credit cards and picks the table after 5 p.m., it doesn't make sense to come and ask him to leave. If a young lady has a small table and is selling banana, okay, and she can make sure that place is swept after she's left. I don't think it makes sense to come and ask that person
There's a simple question I want to put to AMA's mayor, Mr. NewDay Sowa, is that if we can have AMA certified newspaper stands sit on pavements, right? AMA public toilets sit by the streets. AMA Lotto approved Lotto centers sit on this, which are permanent. Why can't we have somebody who will sell mobile phone credit to us for those of us who are journeying to go and buy, or fruit or water?
Except you can say that the person dirties the place.
It doesn't just add up.
Illegally
if you can have Lotto, you can have newspaper. Why can't you have those who are selling credit? And the credit table, very small table. And it's a table that is moved. The Lotto doctor doesn't move the office.
It's there all the time.
Sometimes I don't get it. And
well,
I think that we are so discriminatory in this country. Good morning to you, Mr. Mayor. We are on this matter. And please, if you want to do demolition, let's do it holistically. If not, stop picking and choosing. It's not good for you, please. It is not good at all for you.
Johnny, can we do portals?
We are not happy. I'm not happy with the mayor.
So you do portals?
I'm not happy with the mayor. Anyway, so let's check out what's happening on 3news.com. The man of the moment is here. A judiciary has a problem. Kenyatta.
That's a sad statement.
Is he just realizing that the judiciary has a problem?
It's a sad statement. I said that statement will live with him after and beyond. In fact, even his grandchildren will suffer from that statement.
But you know that the Kenyattas have...
It should be a lesson to all politicians, particularly the Ghanaian politicians.
Right. You know that the Kenyattas have a long history. Well, the second bout for the presidential title there, that's Odinga and Uhuru, swollen faces and swollen eyes. Tilapia has a way. You definitely will know how it's happening. Well, but so GMB 2017, straight out of Ghana, Central Region's Baba judged best performer, and she was Miss Eloquent as well. So the Central Region is taking the lead. Last week it was for Upper East Talata, but this week when the awards started coming, the Central Region had it. Will she maintain it? I don't know, but you guess.
The Afasha guys voted a lot.
Yes, I think the Afasha guys. When we come back from the break, I'll show you a picture from the Afasha, somebody who has drunk a lot of this thing and has gone that way.
Anyway, guys, we'll be back.
After the break.
Good morning to you. I'm Anthony Jackson and I'm coming your way with some more news. Now, a swift intervention by the military and police deployment in Nkunya Alavanyo has prevented what would have been another bloodshed at Alavanyo Kweme. The Sunday afternoon attack reportedly began from the mountain between Nkunya Tai and Alavanyo Kweme, popularly known as Toji.
I'll record. You sounded.
The The renewed conflicts began after at least 2 months of peace in and around Nkonya Alavanyo traditional area following the shooting of a young lady at a farm near Nkonya Asiedu on Monday, August 14th. The incident occurred at the time the paramount chief of Alavanyo, Togbega J. Atakra VII, was visiting Nkonya Rakbong in what many viewed as a major step towards lasting peace in the area. 2 weeks later, on Sunday, August 27, some unidentified gunmen reportedly opened fire on Alavanyo Agome, during which the Odikro of the town was hit in the back. Exactly a week later, on Sunday around the same time, unknown gunmen opened fire again on Alavanyo Kpeme without any provocation. The attack began from the mountain between Alavanyo Kpemi and Nkonya Tai. However, the police and the military deployment countered the attack and managed to keep the gunmen at bay.
Okay.
The Panjo Divisional Police Commander, Superintendent Prosper Ahlija, confirmed the incident on phone to TV3. He says the police have begun investigations into the shooting and appealed for support from the people in tracking the gunmen. It will be recalled that the renewed clashes in the area resulted in the death of 6 people in April and May this year. Calm was restored after an intervention from the State Security, the Regional Security Council, and the Volta Regional House of Chiefs.
Well, let's head over to the northern region where residents of the Tamale metropolis are calling for the desilting of a major dam which causes flooding in the region. The dam, which previously collected floodwaters, is now silted up.
Was coordinating several hectares of dry season farming. In the 90s, the area was a dam collecting water from upstream, but now it is only the embankment that is visible. The dam itself is silted up. Canals are all broken. The water now moves to town and causes a lot of flooding.
It's a dam, a big dam. And the elder days, our grandfather was farming there. So after that, they come and do this dam for that. The town. So before that, there was some time ago there was heavy rain come and break that dam. So we are now farming inside.
The dam, per its location, was a flood control measure with a capacity to match major flood waters, but silted up. It burst its banks each time it rained heavily.
If the dam don't do, the dam is just contain the water, we just destroying that thing. If there is not this dam, any time, government cannot solve it. Because this water is not as small. And once they repair this dam, before they will enjoy. If not that.
Indiscriminate refuse dumping and poor drains compound the flooding problem. Until the dam is desilted, the region will continue to battle annual floods and life lost.
Well, from the north, we head over to the western region where residents of Nzulezo community on stilts in the Jomoro district can now have access to proper medical care. This follows an intervention by You at Heart Foundation, a non-governmental organization, and Givers Scientific Herbal. The community, which is experiencing an increase in malaria and typhoid cases, now has a stocked sick bay. Here's a report by Ebenezer Abaka.
Nzulezo is about 30 minutes cruise from Benin in the Jomoro district. Established some 600 years ago, the stilt community can only pride itself of electricity. Although the community attracts tourists daily, much has not been done to develop it. Lack of a health post coupled with poor sanitary conditions have resulted in high cases of malaria and typhoid. Tourists who visit the stilt community are compelled to cope with the poor sanitary condition, but they do not attempt drinking from this water source because of its look. In a bid to save the situation, You at Heart Foundation, an NGO in collaboration with Giver Scientific Herbal, have constructed, stocked and handed over a sick bay to the Nzulezu community. The facility will aid in the mitigation of diseases contracted before referring the case to a bigger health facility.
Anytime you are called upon to come and then help so that we save a life, it's a privilege. We thank God that today it has come to light and they've had the health post. At least it can cater for some first aid and then some other small illness that might break out here.
2 health assistants will hence be posted to man the facility.
Ghana Health Service will take full responsibility of it. The very first set of drugs or medication that they would need to solve pressing issues are readily provided. These are free donations that we received, and we've stocked the place up. That can last them for at least the next 5 to 6 months.
Head of the royal family of Nzulezu, Kwaw Armstrong, was full of praise for donors but blamed the poor sanitary situation in the community on the influx of tourists.
More people come in and might think that Nzulezu are dirty. No. Before this tourism started, we were not experiencing this. You only come and find raffia sticks and maybe dugouts, wooden this thing around, but these things were not there.
The donors later joined the town folk to embark on a cleanup exercise in the Amazulu River. The team later educated the community on the need to observe personal hygiene.
Now, an educationist, researcher and development expert, Professor David Miller, is asking government to stop dumping chemical fertilizers on farmers and encourage the use of organic fertilizers. Professor Miller wants government to consider putting up organic fertilizer production factories under its one district, one factory policy. He spoke to Eva Atiboka.
Over the years, farmers have constantly complained of poor harvest. They blame this on soil infertility. Extension officers to introduce them to farming methods that fix nitrogen and other minerals into the soil are in short supply. Farmers now resort to chemical fertilizers. This, a researcher and commercial farmer, Professor David Miller, says is suicidal.
You have done a big disservice to the area, especially to the north.
Why?
Our soils are fragile, and when you have fragile soils, you don't send chemical fertilizer or inorganic fertilizer, you send organic fertilizer that will regenerate the soil. Inorganic is for the crop. The crop will take more, the soils will get weaker, your yields will be less, and they'll need more fertilizer.
He touched on government's fertilizer subsidy to farmers.
There are articulated loads of fertilizer that have come into the region, and they are placating that. We have flooded the place with fertilizer. You flooded the place with poison.
He says government must initiate the production of organic fertilizer under its one district, one factory policy.
Let's invest the same amount of energy in organic fertilizer. The leaves of granules after harvesting, or beans, or legumes, or even any organic material, through charring, you can produce organic fertilizer.
Port authorities say they have begun receiving online requests from freight forwarders and clearing agents 3 days into the implementation of the paperless transaction at the port. The authority says the program took off on September 1 without any hitches.
A team of port officials, including the Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, Paul Asari Ansah, the Tema Port Director, Edward Osei, toured various centres to ascertain the progress work. Because September 1 was a holiday, the port authorities indicated that the port delivery unit, which required clearance transactions, did not work, but the other sites were operational. On Friday, 2 people made requests online and were duly served according to the Port Authority's operational team. But on Saturday, September 2, as expected on weekends, the revenue center was a bit slow, though pockets of clearing agents came to the GPHA Revenue Center to make enquiries about how to make their requests online. The General Manager, Marketing and Corporate Affairs, Esther Jebidonko, says a customer service center would be built to assist clearing agents to use the online systems. The paperless port reforms requires importers and agents to present genuine and legitimate supporting documents before the arrival of the vessel. in line with the existing pre-arrival assessment port process. All unauthorized freight forwarders and agents are also being urged to register with recognized agencies in order to have full benefits of the automated clearing processes at the port.
Well, that's it for news this morning. Handing over to Hammer, Bright, and Johnny.
Yeah, I'm told,
Monday morning.
I'm told that the middle school living certificate is now a Master of Science, Commerce, and Law.
I have one.
You have?
When we wrote the common entrance, we were asked to stay on and write the middle school living certificate. It's
you
nice.
thought it was punishment then?
Oh, it was not. We had free time and we didn't have anything to do at home at that time.
So you went to write an exam?
Yeah, it was just...
Anyway.
It was Maths, English, History, and then I've forgotten the...
General paper?
Yeah, there's another subject, but I've forgotten. Maths, English, History, and...
looking at like
geography.
History, it would have been nice to keep history in, the basic education, because most of us grew up not really knowing.
And even general paper.
There's no one structured under social studies.
Not really.
Logic and some others, I think so. Anyway, AJ, so this is what happened at the... Yes, this is what happened at the Afashe in Cape Coast, in the central region. Yeah, he's drunk the distance and he's doing that. But is that xylophone media?
Suddenly if you go for a walk, you get tired. Maybe he's tired.
And he's sleeping in the sun.
Yeah, he's tired.
Okay. So
2 kilometer walk and you get tired.
Anyway, these are the guys who are crack mathematicians. They are calculating whether or not we can make it to the World Cup in Russia.
Well, they should stop.
They're developing the formula. Yeah. So
this morning I got a neighbor who said that over the weekend he's been quiet all alone, and I asked, what have you been doing? He said he's been trying to find out how the Black Stars can get to the World Cup.
Okay.
And he said he's found what we can do.
What can we do?
Yeah, so maybe we'll wait. He's not told me yet, but he just told me he's found what we can do.
He gave you a teaser, so we'll go and find out.
I'll find out.
So I'm sure that our ladies are seeing, this is a new design in town now. You wipe away what gave to you and God gave to you, and then you do more. You do more.
But there's even another amusing one that it looks squiggly. It looks like a snake. Wavy. I don't know what this fashion trend.
But what do women get when they do these things? What exactly do they get?
Ask them.
They become attractive.
Attractive. Like
Is this attractive to you?
Okay.
This Nike sign.
And this is what Eid can make people do.
Friday. Yeah, it was exciting on Friday.
Eid can make people do a lot of things that they don't want. I mean, some right-thinking people, they are pushing a fat cow into a saloon car.
They took the seat off.
Yes, and what gives them the indication that this thing will fit into the car? I mean,
well, the car even move with this load anyway, guys. It's time to run.
Excitement is what? Yeah, when you're excited, you kind of do certain things you're not thoughtful about. So,
good. All right.
Yeah, but we're ranting about, people have put forth a desire for the minister to resign as being MP over some tribal comments that he made. Everyone has their views.
I think they're very, very wrong call for fellow parliamentarians to be making that call. It's not right at all. And I don't want to be doing equalization, but look, the man has resigned over his position as a minister, but he was elected by his constituents to represent them. It's a totally different matter, and I think that, look, you caution him and then you move on from that. But we hear key parliamentarians, even leaders of parliament, make very damaging statements about each other, allegation of bribery and corruption and all of that. And what did we see? The standing orders are clear that, look, when somebody does A, B, C, and D, expel the person from parliament. The speaker says go and sin no more. And so what is all the point? Are these the same people who are calling for somebody's head? Come on, please, forgive me. Excuse me. Good morning to all of you.
Anyway, but George is back in Accra, so we're ranting on the streets of Accra this morning over the resignation or so of the Deputy Agric Minister, who's already resigned. So he should resign as MP or stay on. Let's hear what people have to say.
If you thought the resignation of Deputy Agric Minister William Kwetu over his tribal comments brought closure to the matter, then I'm sorry to tell you that it didn't, because commentators are calling for his resignation as MP. Let me give you some information here. William Kwetu is the MP for Akim Oda, and he has stayed in the north for 27 years before becoming Minister of State and an MP. So he can pass for a northerner, if you ask me. And the question I'm asking today is, are we not going to the extreme regarding this matter? This is Daily Rant. Let's keep talking.
Yeah, for me, I feel say he has to resign. Because if he's able to tell northerners, a whole northern region, that they are liars, and then they are trying to fabricate cases. So he can tell his own constituents when things are failing that they are lying. He has done this and that day. Already we are having MPs telling us lies. Some was telling us about SHS buildings they did when it wasn't the government, the former government that did it. So this man can also say it one day that the constituents in his constituency are liars when they say he has done something or they claim something. So I think he should resign from that position too as the MP. He has failed the government. He should resign.
He's being pressurized to apologize. If he wants to apologize, he must go to the north and tell the northern people that, look, I'm sorry. Because he came out to say that he had been there with 27 years. If these people are bad, they cannot accommodate him for 27 years. But to say this, not to Ghanaians alone, but to the entire world, international world, that I know them, they can tell lies, they can do this, they can do that. He has
But I'm shocked. He's been there for 27 years. Why would he?
Yes. So it is like the saying goes, if the tilapia should come out from the river to tell you that the crocodile is sick, then it is true because it lives with the crocodile. And so once he has been there for 27 good years, he's trying to tell us that he knows that they are liars. So you can see the volume of insult it will bear on any northerner, even not in Ghana, but outside.
Okay. I know Ghana is more like a Christian nation. And there's this saying, I want to use it, entry. So, but any good, so I don't cut the entire leg. And so apology is quite enough to, settle this score.
Saying apology is apology when it comes from the heart, when the person shows remorse. Here, the guy has not shown remorse. The apology you are telling me he did, which I don't even know about, was because people pressured him to do it. People were forcing arms of government to tell this man he should resign as a minister, just to save face for the fact that the president has told us he's fighting corruption. Just to save face. So he hasn't.
No, he said that he did that to bring peace. So it means there's strong remorse here.
You see, so he's telling us there's a condition to his sorry. His condition is for peace to be, but not because he has done something wrong, not because what he said he sees it as wrong or bad. No, but because people will say Northerners will fight with Ashantis, and so that is why he's saying sorry. But to him, what he has said is the truth. To resign as the MP, when he goes back to sit down, makes the calculation, then he will realize that next time he wouldn't be putting out some statements there. Because now Ghana is free, everybody's just saying anything. The last time I was telling you, security is very, very zero. People are just saying what they like, and that is what the MP is doing.
We are assuming Ghana is a Christian country. And these are some of the things that bring conflict between Christians and Muslims. Because a Christian has insulted, because the North is being dominated by Muslims. So,
it means they are also part of it. He's a Christian, so the Northerners there to say, okay, we are Muslims. Okay, it's a case between Muslims and Christians.
So you imagine what the end result will be. So to me, to bring peace, he should be forced to resign as MP too. It will set a good example to all Ghanaians who are vying, even not for political appointments, but even in the public service. Honestly speaking, we must learn how to talk. And traditionally, that's what happens when somebody is being made a traditional ruler. He's kept indoors and he's taught how to talk in public. Even if he's a good draft player or card player, he doesn't go out to play draft with his friends again, because that is the discipline, even if he's a young guy. So, wow, please, he should resign. You see, he has the mean education. People have gone to school, and look at you, with all that you've acquired in education.
You are telling people their lies. The vice president is a northerner. You are telling a whole economist that is a liar.
So all that he has been telling is lies.
So that's how you see it.
That's it. So to appease the northerners and to appease other people.
Don't talk for the general public. It's your views.
It is the general public that pressured you here. Is it not the general public that is making you grant me this interview? So it is the general public's view that he should resign as an MP, go back home, sit somewhere, and then realize that you just don't open your mouth and say something. Anything at all. When you are a noble man, people are looking up to you. You are a role model to the society. So now I can also get up one day and say that, people from Achem are so and so. It goes on like that, and then we have problems.
I always say the only person is honorable is our Lord. Look at the honorable man. Look at what he did. Can you tell me that the Lord can do this?
So we are humans. We can fault anytime.
That is how you should be very careful. Respect your neighbor. Respect your neighbor. But they're the MPs. They respect themselves than the people who send them there. It was our dead Tom. who sent them there? Do you remember? Yeah, and later they will come and exhort us by heart. You should go down and go and learn tomorrow again. Peace Council. They were in this country. So many things happened. Did they come and apologize? When was that? They went and seek some MPs' cars. Where are they? Where are the Peace Council? Did you hear of them? But then what happened? Then this man there, you are coming to apologize for what? Let the man himself apologize for what he did.
But I know according to the chairman, that's Professor Emmanuel Asante, he says if we still want him to resign as an MP, it's like we say he should denounce his citizenship. So we are going to the extreme.
Nobody is denying somebody.
Is he trying to tell me that all the citizens are MPs? Because I'm not an MP, I'm not a citizen of Ghana again.
It's like we're going to the extreme.
Because he's an Akan. He's trying to support an Akan. You see, this is what will bring the tribal conflict. Because Asante is an Akan, that is why he's supporting the man that is too much for him. If it were to be a Northerner, he will not come out to say this.
But how would you know? How would you know?
I'm denouncing this from the fact that because Asante is an Akan, and it was an Akan who made the statement, Osura also had made the same this thing some years back. So if you add 1 + 1, it makes 2. So that is the way things are going. If it were not that, don't just Asante will come out and say, no, don't let the man resign. What you will say behind doors is, if people for the son, Muslims say that's they like fight. That's the comments they will make. So we should set good example. The president is talking about corruption and indiscipline. This is one of the indiscipline. We want to use that to test him. So
it's not by a minister. It ends there.
No. We want to discipline so that look at Kennedy Ajipon. Look at the way I've been talking.
In fact, tomorrow I should be hearing this on TV3 that the man has resigned as an MP.
You understand that wasting your resources, time, energy, and all these things in campaigning to become an MP, at the end of the day, because of loose talk, you've lost all these things. Tomorrow, if somebody is going to campaign to become an MP, he will learn how to talk.
One thing that really brought about this whole controversy is the 4 Army Worm invasion. And government says it has won the fight against, 4 Army Worm. But the Northerners to go like, so where is the government getting the statistics? Because we are bearing the brunt of this whole thing. And so it's like government is not being truthful about this whole 4 Army Worm thing.
It's like they don't know what they are about. They are not up to date. They are not up to date. Because one says this and then the other person comes to say this. And it's like we are not getting to the masses. The people on the ground, we are not going to them to ask them what is the case itself. But like we are just sitting in our offices with our suits and our tie after coffee, and then we just say anything we want to say for others to believe. That has become the norm. We don't want to know the actual truth. And then when these people come in to say the truth, and it's like then they are liars. And it's not the first time this thing is happening. It is not the first time. We have seen publicly where MPs, beautiful MPs, will stand and then say that, oh, this SHS blog you people are seeing is not from the previous government or it's not from government, it's from my own. And they are proud to be lying to the public because they think the public can just take anything. But we are awake. Ghanaians, we are awake now.
Moving forward, how should we tackle issues like this? Should you always be just resigning? Should there be something more to it?
The man should be used as a sacrificial lamb to set a standard for other people to go about things, especially those in public service. Especially, yes, if he is forced to resign as MP and as a deputy minister, as for deputy minister, that is nothing. Because he can just be put at the presidential palace to work somewhere where he will even be sitting behind and giving powers to other people. Go and do this, go and seize these people's cars, go and do this, go and throw this man out from office and then put my brother there. But if he resigns as MP, that will kill these tribal utterances that are coming from other people. I tell you, if we do it, it will set a good example for all of them to emulate. It will put Ghana above what the international world is seeing as, honestly speaking.
We go for by-elections. It will be an opportunity for somebody else to be an MP, a competent person to be an MP. They have been using the word.
So because of this, Ostrans is not competent?
Competent. Has he been competent when he doesn't know that the army worm is still hurting farmers in the north?
Today's discussion has been on the Deputy Agric Minister's resignation over his ethnocentric comment, and the public has thrown their weight behind calls for him to also resign as MP for Akim Wadan. Let's know what you think about this. Log on to our social media platforms. On Facebook, as News on TV3, and on Twitter, as our News TV3. We came to you from Labadi here at Accra. Thanks for watching, and keep watching NewDay.
Daily Graphic is starting the morning. The big one here, ports go paperless. You can see photographs of officials of the port, Mr. Paul Ansari and the rest here. The system is to be fully tested today. That's a bigger one here. One other one we're taking a look at. Communications Minister refutes corruption allegation, and SNIT verifies certificates of workforce. Three big stories on the front page of the Daily Graphic. The Times says MP TMA clash over demolition of illegal structures. Not very good news there in Tema. And then Ghanaians will soon reap from government policies. The president talking there. One other key story, GES extends placement of BECE candidates into senior high schools. The Today newspaper says Galamsey's on warpath. The Heritage talks about no classroom for free senior high school at Asisewa. That's in the Eastern region. The Statesman says Uhuru victory, null and void. Daily Guide, EC boss $14 million contract under probe. BNFT, IMF bailout extension gives comfort to the market. That's a report there. We'll take a look at that story later on. And, of course, there are other stories here. The Go Street Business talking about Western Rail Line rehabilitation receives $10 million booster. Those are some of the stories I have, the newspapers I have with me. My guest this morning, Member of Parliament for the Futu constituency, a member of the NPP, Honorable Alexander Fimakin is here. Alex, good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
Hope your weekend was good.
Not bad at all.
And you missed the Black Stars? Or you didn't miss them?
I watched something on social media.
Okay, okay.
Some fans hooting at them.
Okay, all right.
It appears they are being part of Russia 2018.
It looks very difficult.
It appears it's difficult.
All right, we'll see
disappointing, very though, but
okay.
What can we do?
Yes, we'll pick the pieces and see. And then former Deputy Minister Communications, a member of the NDC, Felix Kwachofu, is also here. Good morning too.
Oh, good morning.
And you also followed the Black Stars?
Well, I did. It was a major disappointment for me because I was looking forward to the Black Stars taking advantage of the lifeline that had been offered them by Uganda, who in turn beat Egypt 1-0 in Kampala. But it was not to be. The inquest has already begun, and we continue to discuss what can be done to improve their performances.
Yes. All right, I'm grateful, young men. Now, let's start this morning. Some issues with business. The BNFT says that IMF bailout extension gives comfort to the market. This is RMB, a research from a South African-based research firm. RMB research has lauded the government's decision to agree on extension of the IMF bailout program with Ghana, noting that it brings comfort and continuous fiscal discipline to the market. The IMF's prolonged stay gives comfort to the market of continued fiscal discipline, given the West African giant's track record with expenditure overruns. Life after the IMF program would have introduced a higher sovereign risk premium. The research confirmed. So the news is that the IMF approved our extension package for Ghana, initially worth $918 million. The program will be extended an extra year beyond April 2018 end date. The decision was made during a meeting of the fund's executive board that also approved a tranche of $94.2 million in balance of payment support following the fourth review of the program. So key decisions were made, and the paper takes a look at them. The RMB called for a further narrowing in the deficit in 2017 and 2018 due to the strengthening of the economy and planned fiscal consolidation, but noted that the 3% deficit target for 2019 is too optimistic given the ruling party's commitment to campaign promises. The rate of decline in the fiscal deficit will not be enough to significantly improve debt levels. We expect the level to remain above 70% of GDP over the medium term. So that's the story so far. The extension of the bailout over the weekend attracted a lot of commentary. Alex, let me start with you. The commentary particularly was based on the fact that government or the NPP had promised to stop the program, and the commentary was that well, you promised to stop it, but you did not. Now, government says that certain indicators were simply not right. So the only thing to do is to go ahead with the program and get to a completing stage. For Ghana, in terms of stabilizing the economy, in terms of ensuring fiscal discipline, is the IMF the key decider in this?
Not necessarily, but let's set the parameters right. In these days, it is much easier for people to set an agenda on the basis of NPP having said something in one way or the other. NPP on record and in our manifesto, which was our blueprint for the elections, never said that should we win, we're going to suspend the IMF program. We never said so.
Never said it?
Yes. So if you're saying somebody quote, so a MPP said so, that is wrong. What we did was to criticize the government for subscribing to the IMF program on certain grounds. That look, you've had so much resources, you have abused same, your financials are highly geared, and now you're going to the IMF for certain conditionalities. That was to restrict the government and the way it was running the economy. But that being the case, we are in governance. We have inherited the program and haven't realized that, look, certain parameters set out are such that it is important to complete the program and extend same to get stability. Nothing stops us.
Let me bring in this so that you can do a quick reaction. If during the campaign platform, you said the NPP never said they would stop the IMF program. Did the president also at his first meeting with media men and women suggested that the program would be stopped?
You see, you are alleging a suggestion.
During campaign?
No.
And you said the party didn't say that.
I mean, right. It is important you set it right.
Okay.
In one breath, you claim that during campaign. In another breath, you said, Mr. President, first meeting with journalists, he suggested so. I mean, let's be emphatic, straight to the point. Okay. Was an emphatic statement made? We have an economic management team headed by the Vice President. We have our blueprint. We've presented our budget. Okay? So these are, the budget is a document that clearly indicates which direction the economy is going into. So let's forget about, and somebody said this in a suggestion, an implied meaning to a statement. The point is, the MPP criticized the NDC government for going back to the IMF.
Right.
Because they themselves had said that their exit, as they had in 2012 or so, was the last time. They had said so publicly. So when they later went to Senchi and they said, oh, we are not going for any IMF program. We're now looking for homegrown solutions to our economic problems. And eventually, doing a U-turn, we criticized them. And the basis of those criticisms, I've cited one. That look, you had abused so much of resources you had received. The oil revenue, certain programs like the SADA, they are going to borrow at the compound interest to take the CDB facility they had gone and they were sinking so much money into by way of peanut charges, and they were very tight. So they had no choice than to go to the IMF to, okay, bail us out. And then the IMF gave certain conditions. Those, we criticized them, and I was a member of the finance committee.
Right.
So I'm still aware of the fact, what we'd said, and I won't run away from it.
But you don't think that the IMF extension is an issue because of what the party said in the build-up to the elections and after the elections? You don't think so?
Which aspect do you think? Which aspect do you think that it becomes an issue?
Well, I've heard the president say that the program won't continue beyond the last budget review that was laid in Parliament in November last year.
Right, quote it right.
Okay,
so
let's listen to the president.
Very well, yes. Then we can
come back. The president at the meeting with some journalists at the Flagstaff House is reported to have said that the program won't continue. and that beyond what now the news is that it's been extended to 2018. Economists are even suggesting that the program will run for 4 years, because after the completion date, there's what they call
right, let viewers know when the program was to end.
Well, April 2018, and it's extended for 1 year to 2019. Yes. And analysts are suggesting that there's even a year that they call a cleanup exercise. So their suggestion is that the program will run the full haul of this government to 2020.
Right, give the reasons.
Let's listen to let's listen to the president.
Very well.
Yes, and when is the IMF program comes? The IMF program is not going to be extended. We took the decision on coming in that the country had entered into this program in 2015. It was coming to an end in April 2018, and we felt that to give a certain sense of stability and coherence to our country's economic policy making, that we would complete the program. The last budget that is going to be held under the IMF program will be the budget that is going to be laid before the House in November by the finance minister. So there's going to be no question of an extending the program.
Okay, so that was the president at the meeting.
Yeah, and subsequent to that, just give the state what has informed the government decision on the change.
Well, is
there an announcement? Right. Let me understand. This is a newspaper report. I need to understand the basis for the whole discussion. Is there an announcement by the Ministry of Finance that the program is being extended to 2019?
Yes.
There's an announcement to that effect. Yes. When?
Well, in the newspapers, that's the story that was out over the weekend, that the IMF bailout program has been extended to 2019.
Through a press statement by the Minister.
We saw it in the newspapers.
No, I just want to get, we need to get the parameters right. So then we are, because we're all here Thursday, Friday, Monday morning.
It was a long weekend.
Yes. So is there an official statement? If it is so, then, like you were saying, if it is so, government has reviewed its position.
Right.
It is not unusual, and Felix has been in government before.
Exactly.
It is not unusual. Like President Mahama, before they went to Senchi, said that, look, we are not going back to IMF. We are now coming out with homegrown solutions to economic challenges, and they were at Senchi for a week or so. Now, if there's a policy change because of certain information, because of certain data available to the government, and government feels that, look, we need to change position, it wouldn't be unusual. But what I want clarified is whether or not, indeed, there is an announcement by the Ministry of Finance to the effect that there is a change in government policy, and that now, based on A, B, C, and D, the IMF program is being extended for a year more. That's all I want to...
The Deputy Minister of Finance, one of the Deputy Ministers, Kweku Kwarteng, is gone ahead to speak to us on the issue. He said on several media outlets that there are reasons why government took that decision. I don't know if you want to take that as an official announcement, or you think that perhaps he cannot be an official spokesperson
I've not said so.
of the ministry. But that is the source. That is the source of the information.
I am getting you to clarify it, because in making a commentary on this, it is important that if government, because you played Mr. President's voice to suggest that, look, government had emphatically said it wasn't going to extend the program. If that is the case, then your question is that why the sudden change?
Exactly.
I am saying
that's the reason why the extension is an issue, because it's not an issue. We know it's not an issue.
But then you also agree that it is not unusual for government to be reviewing its position on any matter in one way or the other. And that if it will serve the best interest of Ghanaians, it is a duty of government, with a mandate of the people, to change its position to enable a sustained economic development. So it wouldn't be unusual. Right. But I only wanted a clarification on the announcement as made. That is all.
And I'm saying that if you would take Honorable Kweku Kwarteng's commentary as official, fine. If not, you can go ahead.
No, I've not said. You say that he has made an announcement. Let's conclude on the point that if government has changed its position, that it is going to extend for 1 more year, stating certain grounds, it wouldn't be unusual.
Right.
It is as it is.
Okay. I'm grateful. Right. That's Alexander Afenyo-Mark and Member Parliament for the Futu constituency. Felix, so let's stay here. I am saying that the IMF extension is not an issue, but it became an issue because of the fact that there were promised that this program will not be extended. Government has said that certain targets were missed in 2015. As a result of that, we need to stay on the program and correct them. Alex is saying that, I mean, it's a normal thing to have government policies reviewed. What do you think about
that? Is if there
is a need to.
I don't know why Alex is struggling.
Oh, he's not struggling.
Over a very straightforward matter. Look, for the avoidance of doubt, the IMF issued a statement last week in which they announced the extension of this program after holding regular consultation with officials managing Ghana's economy. So it is beyond doubt. Also, multiple state officials who work within the MPP government have publicly stated that the program has been extended by a year. I don't know where Alex has been over the last week, such that he disputes what is obvious and what everybody has heard. Again, I disagree with the claim that this review is no big deal. You see, it is a very big deal to the extent that it represents a major deception on the part of the New Patriotic Party. When they were campaigning, they were explicit about their position on the IMF deal. This morning, I've heard Alex prevaricate and indicate that when they were in opposition, they did not I beg your pardon. You see, Alex, I beg, with the greatest respect to you, Alex, let us avoid unnecessary heckling. When you spoke for about 15 to 20 minutes. I kept quiet.
No, I'm not heckling you.
So let me
just giving you additional
information. You see, the notion that
you have our blueprint.
The notion that you are bound by only what is in the MP manifesto is most misleading. I don't know why you even do that to yourself. Look, you are bound by every commitment.
So why did you bring it in?
You are bound by everything that you see on the campaign platform. So the fact that it is not in the manifesto doesn't mean that you cannot be held to account. And look, I will give you multiple instances where the words of your flag bearer, your vice presidential candidate, and your leading functionaries bind you. On the 29th of March 2016, Dr. Baumia described the IMF deal as a sham at Key University when he delivered a lecture at the invitation of the authorities there. Now, when you describe a program that government has entered into as a sham, you cannot be expected to come into government and continue a sham. On July 18th, 2017, that was the day that President Akufo-Addo met the press at the Flagstaff House. He was express that the IMF program would end in April 2018. Of course, this generated so much confusion that on the night of the same day, the Finance Ministry came out to reiterate what the President has said, except that they said it will run the full budget cycle up to December 2018. Now, on January 17, 2015, Dr. Anthony Akoto-Osei expressly stated that the IMF program cannot help Ghana. Now, I am at pains to appreciate how a program that cannot help Ghana can be continued by the party that made this statement. Again, on January 20th, 2017, Mr. Yao Osafo-Maafo, senior minister, who has publicly stated that he coordinates economic aspects of governance today in Ghana, said that the IMF deal will definitely be reviewed. The IMF deal will definitely be reviewed. What they have done is not a review. They have extended it by 2 years because the program was supposed to end in 2017.
But is it not after reviewing?
No. Is it when you say?
Isn't it the key that because we missed certain targets in 2015?
Right. When you say you are going to review a program, it means that you are going to alter it in its current existence. As I speak to you, nothing has changed about the program. All that they have done is that the same things that we were doing that should have ended in 2017 has been extended to 2019. Again, the excuse that they give is most untenable.
That we missed some targets?
Why? When they were campaigning in 2016, they themselves were going about claiming that the Ghanaian economy had collapsed. Dr. Baumia was loud in his attacks on the NDC administration, claiming that we were mismanaging the economy. Now, I disagree strenuously with those claims, but assuming without admitting that he was right, would it not indicate that he had knowledge of the state of the Ghanaian economy, such that when he says that the IMF deal is a sham, and multiple leaders of the MPP say they will review it, they know what they are talking about. You cannot come into government and cite macroeconomic indicators as reason why you will extend something that you say is a sham. In any event, if everything was okay, why would you go to the IMF? So the very fact that we went to the IMF was indication that there was some difficulty that we needed to overcome.
They say you mismanaged the economy. That's why you went to IMF.
But the point I'm making to you is that it's not the first time we've gone to the IMF. Under President Kufuor, we went to the IMF.
So you concede the economy was mismanaged?
No, not necessarily. You see, what the IMF does for you is that they bring their weight to bear on the things that you are doing. All the prescriptions that they give are things that all economies should be doing anyway. The IMF have something they call Article 4 consultations. So every year, they consult with all their member states to ensure that there's stability in the global economy. So that when you are managing the economy and they detect some lapses, they are able to give you technical support and advice to ensure that you come back on stream so that it does not spiral into a bigger crisis that will affect the whole global economy. So this thing is done regularly. Now, historically, we've had difficulties with the management of our economy. We've incurred huge deficits over the years, with the notable exception of 2004. Every single year, we've had huge deficits. So in 2014, 2015, it was thought necessary that we take a number of steps to address the imbalances that we were experiencing. So we came up with what we call the homegrown policies, which essentially are measures that we believed were necessary to correct the slippages that we had incurred. Now we took this to the IMF, and they reviewed it and decided that they will give it a stamp of approval. What that does for you is to instill confidence in the global business community in your economy. That is what that the IMF does. It is not really about the money. Because the money,
Felix, is it also not to spend you overspending, stop you from overspending?
Because it is not just overspending.
Because of fiscal indiscipline.
Yes, but
you needed to bring in the IMF to be able to
fiscal indiscipline is a long-standing Ghanaian malaise. That's why I gave you the history. That with the notable exception of 2004, we've always incurred significant deficits. In fact, in 2008, we inherited a deficit of close to 14%. That is minus arrears that we came to meet. It was just that the economy was rebased in 2010, so fortuitously, that figure changed. But what we came to meet was 14%, which would be the highest deficit we have incurred in recent Ghanaian history. So it is not new to incur a deficit and have some of these slippages. But I'm making the point that we went to the IMF with a view to getting their stamp of approval so that further confidence will be injected into the Ghanaian economy. It is not because we wanted $900 million, because we have the capacity as a country to borrow far in excess of that. Now, the MPP, for partisan gain, bastardized this arrangement and demonized the IMF in order to whip up public support for their cause. They were fully aware of the facts when they were making these positions that I have highlighted systematically to you with dates. And they knew that the IMF deal was necessary. They also knew that once we had entered into an agreement with the IMF, there was little room for maneuver. And that the arrangements were such that they could not get out easily. And yet, they were peddling on truths and telling the Ghanaian electorate that they were going to review the policy. Now, if they could be excused over the fact that the arrangements were rigid, and so they had to see it to its logical conclusion, at least beyond 2017, they have the option to get out of the deal. Okay. The very fact that they themselves have agreed with the IMF to extend the deal shows you that they are not managing the economy any better than what they criticized. Now, they cite macroeconomic slippages as the reason why they have extended this by 2 years. Check their first and second quarter performance. You will see notable slippages. They are performing badly on revenue mobilization. Again, they are nowhere near the deficit targets that they've set for themselves. There are many who believe that a deficit of about 8% will be incurred at the end of this financial year. They targeted 6.5% in the budget. They are nowhere near that deficit target. So they themselves are superintending over major macroeconomic slippages. Now, if you look at all the indices that are performing well, they stem from policies that the NDC government put in place. For instance, look at inflation. Inflation is a lagging indicator. What it means is that its effects are felt long after the policies accounting for it have been rolled out. So there's some time that needs to elapse before you begin to feel it. So if inflation falls from 15% to 13% to 12% to 11%, it shows that there is some consistent effort, starting way before the NPP came to power. That is leading to it. Indeed, if you check the budget statement presented by Mr. Kenufurata in Parliament, he acknowledged the drop in inflation from September of 2016. If you look at the growth rate, in fact, they recorded 6.3%, but that is with additional oil coming from both the Jubilee and Tenfields. It has nothing to do, I beg your pardon, the Sankofa and Tenfields. It has nothing to do with any specific policy that the NPP has implemented. You will recall that last year, the IMF, the World Bank, Fitch, and other major financial institutions predicted that this year we were going to grow in excess of 7%. And since they've been in power, they've had access to more oil than we did. If you look at borrowing, what was the NPP's position on borrowing? What was Dr. Bawumia Singh Song? Constantly bastardizing our efforts to borrow in order to support our budget. As I speak to you, they are on course to borrow up to 40 billion Ghana cedis by the end of this financial year. And that 40 billion Ghana cedis is roughly half of what we borrowed in our entire 8 years. If you doubt it, check the latest Monetary Policy Committee report of the Bank of Ghana. They indicate that our debt has risen from 122 billion Ghana cedis in January 2017 to almost 140 billion Ghana cedis under the NPP.
Okay, wrap up
so
for me.
It is obvious that the NPP misled the Ghanaian electorate. They don't possess any exceptional competence. They are doing the very same things that all Ghanaian governments have done over the years. They have been unable to generate the resources that they say they were capable of generating to develop this country. So they are borrowing heavily, sometimes to finance consumption, the very things that they criticized when they were in the opposition. So let Alex stop misleading the public this morning. And you see, what worries
me... wrap up.
Yes,
just
what
5
worries
seconds.
me...
Let me go to Alex.
What worries me most is their lack of candor on most of these issues. They borrow and turn around and tell us that the borrowing will not increase our debt, when in fact our debt is increasing. They have extended the IMF deal on their own volition and yet are seeking to blame the previous government for that decision. Alex today is denying that they ever said they will not continue. When they are leading figures, people in charge of the management of this economy are on record to have made specific statements that bind the New Patriotic Party. So yes, the IMF deal is necessary. But the lesson in that is that next time politicians come to the electorate to make promises, the electorate perhaps have to be more scrutinous and ensure that they hold the feet of these politicians to the fire of accountability. We in the opposition will be scrutinizing them and we will make sure that these contradictions and deceptions are pointed out to the people of Ghana.
I'm grateful. Alex, yes, come in, but one key thing the IMF raised was that our revenue mobilization is simply too low if we needed to hit our targets. What do we do?
Right. Let me, before responding to that, refer you to page 9, paragraph 14 of our manifesto. And I quote the IMF managing director at the time, who said that most of the country's borrowing under the Mahama government had been spent on consumption rather than investment. In fact, only 20% of total government borrowing between 2009 and 2015 had been spent on infrastructure investment. And in fact, in explaining away the reasons for the compelling need for the government to come under the program, these were the comments.
Some of the
okay. Right. Now, you don't expect all these things to suddenly change. Felix, I want him to know that all these mess cannot change overnight. To the extent that even you have maturing debt that you're supposed to pay within the first quarter of you inheriting power. And for 8 years, the NDC in issuing domestic bonds never got it at any rate better than 21%. Now we come and we get that 19%, the lowest ever. You still find a way of criticizing and attacking the government. So what exactly do you want to say? The government is 7 months old. You are claiming that the inflation which has reduced and is getting all indicators positive for businesses to develop is something that is coming from, you know, some benefit of your own government, some management.
Yeah, that's what he says.
But you've forgotten that in 2009, when you took over from President Kufuor and inflation came down to around 11%, eventually it became a single digit, you didn't give credit to the Kufuor administration. You didn't say that, oh, normally when you put in the support systems, it takes some time to mature. So these are the benefits of the Kufuor's competent management of the economy. But you took credit. If we had left the economy the way we came to meet it, are you saying that inflation would have been where it is today? So at least one thing I sometimes dislike about Felix is that he fails to even commend the government where he knows, oh, at least, I mean, in our debate, I don't expect you to come and be praising the MPP government. That is the least thing I expect you to do. But you are talking about conduct. Look at it in respect of your own conduct. At least be fair and say that, look, on this score, the NPP has done well. On that score, I disagree. But to you, everything Anado, everything MPP is bad. And that is a problem I have with you. Okay. How do you expect overnight, when the government, the IMF has indicated that you're spending so much, the oil revenue, look at the report that were coming. I was part of the finance committee at the time. Most of the projects that you have spent on were even non-existent. It's in the report. It is there. The IMF question you. Why are you spending so much on consumption just upon all the borrowing with all the stories about the infrastructure? The IMF said you spend just 20% on investment. Are you saying that within 7 months, right? This is the reasonable question I'm posing. Okay. Is Felix saying that within 7 months, things should change to the extent that we would not even need the IMF? These were the very things you did. If you spend so much money on consumption, and you put us in a certain state, and we've inherited, and it is said that you cannot just come out almost immediately. You must even commend the government for deciding to extend the program to stay in to ensure the policy credibility you yourself you are espousing, so that we get that relative stability. Who caused him?
Felix, these are two quick questions.
Now who caused him?
Okay. He's asking that.
Now who caused him, Felix?
Why won't you commend government for what you've been touting, policy credibility? And he says that 7 months, nothing will change for them to make a departure from the IMF.
You see, right. Unfortunately, I am not able to commend a government that so blatantly lied to the people of Ghana. I can't commend anybody who lies. So I don't see how, after you've gone to the people to tell them that you are against a specific IMF intervention, you come in and continue the same thing and expect me to commend you. I'm unable to do that. Sorry. Two, it is true that there's not going to be any significant change within 7 months. But it is precisely because of that the MPP needed to be modest and humble when they were making those lofty promises to the people of Ghana. When they haughtily stood on platforms and called the NDC managers of the economy names, they claimed we were incompetent. Was that not Dr. Bamiya's sing-song? So he should have been humbled when making those comments. I beg you, he made some points that I need to clarify.
Oh, quickly, let's
yes, I won't take too much time.
Yes, just,
you see, he claims that we borrowed so much and had little to show in terms of capital expenditure, that's infrastructure projects. Let me place it on record.
He said it's from the IMF.
Let me place it on record that no Ghanaian government can match the record of the NDC government that exited power in 2016 in terms of infrastructure development. Now, let me pose a counter question. Unless you show me one single major infrastructure project they've undertaken with the almost 40 billion Ghana cedis that they would have borrowed by the end of this year.
Oh, you think 7 months?
Oh, no, but
have we borrowed? Has anything come to Parliament?
Alex.
No, let's argue on facts.
Yes, I'm arguing on facts.
This is a debate on facts.
I like very factual arguments.
Debate on facts.
Let me make my point.
No,
I am challenging you.
I'm Felix, are you seriously sure that in 7 months you can put up any infrastructure?
No, but the point is that
what point?
No, you see,
right, that's not even his point.
Even if the money is being borrowed.
Listen, I'm saying that by the end of this year, if you look at the list, their own borrowing calendar, if you add the energy bonds to all the domestic bonds they've raised and all the external credit facilities that they intend to go for, it will come to 40 billion Ghana cedis.
So let it come.
As of now, the Bank of Ghana is showing that you borrowed close to 13 billion Ghana cedis. Show me a single infrastructure project you have undertaken with that, or you have started with that money. Again, he made a point that I need to immediately debunk. He said that because inflation started dropping in September of 2016, and the benefits are being reaped now, a similar case should have been made by me for what happened immediately after they left our. No, because that is not what happened. Inflation rose from 12% in January 2008 to 18.1% in December 2008. So inflation was not coming down when they were leaving power. It was going up. In fact, it went up to about 20% in around April to May of 2009. It was after we began to put in the measures led by Dr. Dufour that we managed to bring inflation to single digits and sustain it for over 30 months, which is the longest. I beg your pardon. I beg your pardon.
You forgot the oil prices.
I beg your pardon. You made a point that was not factual that I corrected. So really, in terms of the record, in terms of the figures that show which party is superior in economic management, it is the NDC. But they merely took advantage of genuine sentiments expressed by the people, promised them heaven, they are unable to deliver. And rather than being candid and apologetic, they seek to blame the NDC for their woes.
I am going to the Daily Graphic and the Heritage this
right, I take it that he's never happy getting out of power. Because with all his debate and the emotions, he's always referring to campaign.
It is
campaign is over. We are no more in campaign mode.
But you will be forever with the issues. Absolutely, but you will forever be bound.
But you said that there was going to be one-time premium. You had said there was going to be one-time premium.
And the Today newspaper. Alex, should I put that question to him?
Right.
Alex, do you want me to put that question to him?
I am putting it to him directly. Did we hear one-time premium? In this country,
we had one-time premium. But you see,
we hear one-time premium.
Okay,
let's been answered.
Let's move on, gentlemen. Let's move on.
You broke 81 campaign promises.
Let's move on. Daily Graphic and the Today newspaper. Communications Minister refutes corruption allegation. Gentlemen, please let's move on. The Minister of Communications, Mrs. Aslai Owusu Ekufo, has refuted corruption allegations leveled against her by the Member of Parliament for the Asin North constituency concerning certain contract at the National Identification Authority. Now, Mr. Japan is reported to have accused her of disregarding his bid for a contract to print NIA cards in favor of more expensive bids. Now, she says that the allegation is false, describing it as patently false and challenging Mr. Japan to provide any evidence that corroborates his outlandish allegations. Now, the acting chief executive secretary of the NIA has also spoken on this. He is insisting the allegations of wrongdoing by the Asin Central MP is baseless and untrue. According to him, contrary to claims by a Member of Parliament that the new contract has been awarded under very shady circumstances, the fact is that no new contract was awarded. Rather, the existing contract signed with the Identity Management Systems in 2012 by the NDC has been considered as robust, and that the company was competent enough to deliver new IDs in 1 year to all Ghanaians. So this is where the story is. Alex, let me start with you. The president called for those who make allegations to prove it's indeed working. We heard of A+'s accusations against the two deputy chiefs of staff. When the police called him, he was unable to provide any evidence. Perhaps in the fight against corruption, we can start from here to ensure that we don't easily cry foul and then we are unable to provide evidence, so that then the fight becomes real instead of people just going to the media and shouting corruption.
So let me start from where you ended. We want to make the fight real.
Right.
And in so doing, mindful of the constitutional provision and Article 41, as one of the duties of a citizen is to respect the rights of another and not to do anything to injure the good name of another citizen. I think that is a constitutional obligation. I was a bit disappointed when I read on social media what the gentleman A+ had posted on his Facebook wall. I'm told that he has since pulled it down. Abu Jinapo, a young lawyer, we have Asenso, you know, they are working hard to, you know, be an example for the youth. And having gotten that status, it is expected that they give of their best. But sometimes when somebody would do that on social media, I think it's most disturbing. And if somebody does that to me without any evidence, I would feel very bad. And I would not expect such a thing to ever happen to me. Now, the issue of investigation, I think that the minister has responded through the statement by saying that, well, I'm not engaged in any act of corruption, like you just read. Right. The ball is in the court of the police to deal with the issues within the confines of the law and let it come to a finality. Okay? I know that sometimes when the media is interested in the generalization and political, of issues, and the political opponents would also jump into the fray, and once you have been tagged, that is it. But on this occasion, let us be interested in the specific issues as to whether or not, indeed, the person has done A, B, or C. So let's leave it to the police. Let them come out with their investigative findings. And if indeed, as is being alleged, anything has been done untoward, I think the next stage would be to take the matter up in court for the individuals to defend themselves. So
you don't think that the two persons involved, particularly in the case of A+, the two deputy chiefs of staff, should take him on?
Oh, you see, like I indicated, if A+, after making that allegation, was unable to provide proof thereof, it is for him to render an unqualified apology. And that notwithstanding, Asenso and Jinapo have their right to pursue him at any forum, including the court. It is their right. Because for you to see front page that you are, your name, graphic front page, nobody would want to wake up to see a morning like that. Or, would you want to see your picture, Felix? Would you want to see your picture on the front page? No. Obviously, I wouldn't also expect to see my picture on the front page with such an allegation. Okay? So, if the man could not, he should be advised by his lawyers to do the needful. But that notwithstanding, the two affected individuals, in fact, anybody who is affected by a false allegation has every right to sue.
To go to court.
Yes.
Right. Let's quickly take some comment from John and I'll come back to you, Felix, too, Robert.
Yeah, John, thank you very much. Says, good morning. I really enjoy your discussions. You guys have been objective of the role of our former president in Kenya in the Kenyan issue. Good analysis. Agana Abiro Paul. Upper East Europe. That was for our earlier conversation. Yakubu in Walewale says, good morning, Nanama Bright and Johnny, and every concerned citizen in Ghana. MPP is thinking of catching every Ghanaian's eye with their free SHS, but the hardship is still growing higher and higher in Ghanaians' pocket, as the promise during the campaign to put money in our pocket is getting to a year now. My arrears have not been paid as a teacher. Masaudu in Bantama says, is featuring Sedaban, the two people writing to us, says, His Excellency Nana Akufo-Addo and his competent team are seriously working in the interest of their country, while the minority NDC are always busy criticizing what's good for Ghana. The president is well focused and will never pay attention to the NDC's propaganda team. Ghana Bay hashtag. still, Raphael Safo. Thank you very much. And good morning, TV3, and happy Baraka de Sanla to, okay, the three of us. President Akufo-Addo has disappointed the employees of Central Gonja. They have to pay our 9 months allowance. Adam Brima in Yape, and TV3 is the best in entertainment. Thank you very much indeed. We'll talk GMB later on. But good morning, guys. TV3's New Day is the best breakfast show. Honestly, I sometimes wonder the essence of our independence because the way and manner we handle issues is just saddening. Johnny, did you watch the Black Stars match? Post-conference? Well, I didn't. You say they're a bunch of jokers. Interesting one there. Let's do some politics. And it says, good morning, Bright. This hashtag 419 government has nothing to offer we Ghanaians. They told us when they were campaigning that if we voted for them, they will continue the IMF program. So today, what has changed? They will not continue. But today, what has changed? I regret voting for this ignoramus government. I'm waiting for 2020 to clean up this mess. Hashtag 2020 we go show Nana from Ijimi in Keta. And please, Mr. Alex, you remain Apenyo marking. We, the Akatamansonians, have long memory. President Nana made it clear to Ghanaians that you will not extend the IMF bailout during his first meeting of the press. From Abdullah Idrisu, Bagu, a suburb of Tolon district. Good morning. Thank you. Good morning, Bright. In fact, I'm highly disappointed with the Deputy Agric Minister. If they use Baumia to win power, intend today to call him a liar because having used Baumia to lie in their campaigns in 2016 elections, Northerners are now tired of these ethnocentric remarks from MPP. Eslo Usu and Yal Safamafo said these similar things some years back. Maxwell Atugum. And I'm surprised that even in government, Honorable Alex is still not aware of what goes on. Is he not aware that his party and his government has extended the IMF program? That's amazing. Dagaba from Bongo. And Bright. Honorable is making his submissions murky. The problem facing this country is our inability to accept our mistakes and swallow our pride. It's obvious he doesn't know what he's saying. MPP thinks Ghanaians are not smart. We heard them when they were parading everywhere with respect to this particular issue. I'm sad. Bernard from Sakumo Estate. Hello, good morning. Paul in the Boakwa Marco Kumasi says it's officially announced they have failed with IMF. MPP, we have seen them. And good morning to your New Day team. Senior Bright, let's all applaud the president so far for keeping to his promises. Gaza spirit in BP. The MPP never appreciated a damn thing the NDC, you say a damn thing the NDC has done. So shouldn't they be expecting that from Francis Nwa? Artur Razak in Tamale says, Ghanaians change MPP only to be deceived. Ghanaians with all their promises they made. The change. And TV3, I must say that you guys are doing a good job. Thank you very much. We'll continue with some GMB comments. But Musa Baba, it says, I think that the President Akufo-Addo owes Ghanaian a public apology for deceiving us that the IMF deal was not going to be extended by his government, only to make a quick U-turn. Alex Afenyo Marking is badly exposed by Akufo-Addo's tape. You can't keep lying in power and get away with it. Ghanaians deserve better. The NDC man is right on his talks, and if MPP man doesn't know how to say, then he should go back for revision. Thanks to you, Bright, he says. And finally, Bright, good morning, Kawawa Tirag. Okay, so well, it says great job by the panel. In fact, we all know it's the duty of opposition to keep the government on its toes, but this incompetency is glaring. Trying hard to win a political point out of every positive headline is uncalled for. We are still waiting for minority press on the Snitch saga. MPP is gradually restoring hope for the hopeless, good health care, education, job creation, etc. Ghana is working again, you say. Senior Bright.
Johnny, I'm grateful.
Thank you.
We'll read more of your comments. Felix, quickly come in here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the fight against corruption, something that the allegations must be proven, else we're doing showmanship with it.
No, you see, it is trite knowledge that when you make allegations against someone, you must prove it. Everybody knows it. It's pedantic to repeat it. Except, and President Akufo-Addo is right when he calls for proof from people making allegations. The only snag is that it is not a creed that he lived by when he was in opposition, and it was convenient for him to attack the integrity of people in government so that he would get elected. And this morning, I decided to base my analysis purely on evidence. Look, on the 9th of December, 2014, he stood at the Aliu Mahama Memorial Lectures and claimed that we had inflated the price of the Kaswa interchange. He didn't provide any proof. It didn't even appear that he had even studied the contract documents. It took the now Deputy Rules Minister to point out that the claims he is making cannot be true, because he has a technical view and he has scrutinized all the documents and knows that there is value for money in the Kaswa interchange. On the 19th of October 2015, President Akufo-Addo again stood in Amsterdam and claimed that the Mahama administration had printed diaries to the cost of $10 million. Since he's been in power, I've seen government officials holding 2017 diaries. Perhaps it is time for them to come out and tell us whether those diaries cost $10 million, because it is through the same mechanism that previous diaries were printed. On the 29th of February 2016, the same President Akufo-Addo said he was delivering the true State of the Nation address when he was opposition leader. He said the Raid Hospital had been inflated by $142 million. Again, he did not provide proof. In fact, he took his own friend, Mr. Abdul Malik Kwekubakun, to point out that what he's saying is not true, because there is a report, a value for money audit that had been conducted on a Raid Hospital that showed that the claims he's making are not true. So it is true that people who make allegations must provide proof. But charity begins at home. Perhaps President Akufo-Addo should set the stage by apologizing for these claims that he made against President Mahama, which were not true. With regards to A+, you see, the NPP simply sowed the wind, and they are reaping the whirlwind. When President Akufo-Addo won the 2016 elections, he singled out A+ for praise. He called him a brick. In other words, he had provided him firm support and thanked him for the effort he made towards campaigning for him to win the elections. Now, what exactly did A+ do? He was making scurrilous allegations against officials of the Mahama administration. That is what President Akufo-Addo thanked him for. So when you thank somebody...
The allegations were not true?
But they were false. He even made allegations. Look, he made allegations against me, my person. They would every now and then go and bring pictures of filling stations and attach our pictures to it and claim that we own them at a time when they knew it is an absolute falsehood.
You don't own a filling station?
I'm telling you that any claim like that is an absolute falsehood. And perhaps they are in government, so they should publish the details of those filling stations. But the point I'm making is that they gave approbation to that kind of misconduct from A+ when they were in opposition, and it suited their partisan ends. So they cannot be crying today when the same A+ says that 2 of the president's deputy chief of staffs are corrupt. Deputy chiefs of staff are corrupt. He is not the only one. Reverend Owusu Bimpa, the MPP prophet, is on record as having accused...
He has a church.
Well, but he's an MPP fanatic. Everybody knows it. So it's beyond debate.
He has a church.
It is not in doubt that he has a church. Look, it is not in doubt that he has a church, but he is an MPP fanatic. Everybody knows it. So I wonder why we are having a debate over this matter. He is on record to have accused Gabriel Chedakun of hijacking the Akufo-Addo presidency. And when you hijack the presidency, you all know what it is for. Kennedy Japan is on record to have made corruption allegations against multiple individuals in the Akufo-Addo government. Indeed, he said that if you are an investor or a businessman and you want audience with the president, you have to part with a cool $20,000 to $30,000 before you do so, because people at the Flagstaff House are collecting such bribes. So these allegations are not coming from members of the NDC. They are coming from members of the MPP. And when the, tilapia comes out of the water to tell you that the crocodile is dead, who are you to challenge him? Especially when he lives with the crocodile. But you see,
wrap up for me.
I made a point a few weeks ago on this very program that I have absolutely no confidence in the president's ability to deal with corruption. It didn't take too long for me to be vindicated when the Bost matter arose. We all saw the massive cover-up that they attempted in that Bost scandal at a time when the National Petroleum Authority had expressly proven that provisions of the MPA Act had been violated by the leadership of Bost. The MPP government told us that because of alleged previous violations by previous leaders of Bost, they were not going to do anything about it. So if you can cover up crimes at Bost and insist that you will not remove somebody who contributed massively to your campaign, why should I believe it when you tell me that the police or CID are investigating these allegations and you will take action? So I don't expect any action to be taken. In fact, I expect a whitewash in keeping with the trajectory that the president is charting. That if any wrongdoing is established against a member of the MPP, there will be no action. Why? If you doubt it, look at what happened in the Delta Force case in Kumasi. How many months has it been? No? Right. No, it is not. It is not. Right, it is not. The Attorney General's office issued a nollie prosecutor.
Yes.
In favor of
gather
those,
more evidence.
No, But how many months has it been? How long does it take to gather evidence of a crime that happened in broad daylight?
All right.
So we need to be clear.
Felix, I'm grateful.
No corruption will be fought under President.
I'm grateful. I wish we could have done Kenya better. Unfortunately, we ran out of time. I'm grateful. Again, Alexander Afenyo-Markin is a member of Parliament for the Futu constituency, a member of the NPP, Felix Kwachufo. So it's a former Deputy Communications Minister, member of the NDC. Those of you who send your comments, we're grateful. Stay with us. The sports team is ready. It will tell you all that happened in Kumasi on Friday. Stay with us. We're back in a minute.
All right, welcome and good morning. It's now time for us to do some sports here on New Day on TV3. I am Solis Rose Korte. Now let's move on to our first story. And Ghana have altered their traveling plans and will leave Accra Monday to Brazzaville to play Congo in the 2018 FIFA World Cup qualifiers return leg. Now the initial plan was to have the team fly out on Sunday on a chartered flight to the Congolese capital. But that has been changed primarily due to the last Friday's 1-1 draw with the Red Devils, which has decimated their qualification chances. Now, they trained at the Accra Sports Stadium yesterday without Captain Asamoah Gyan. Training will continue this morning before their departure. Now, Ghana's contingent will arrive in Brazzaville on Monday and train ahead of the clash at the Stade de Cantel. Now, the Black Stars are third in Group E with 2 points from 3 matches, while Uganda lead with 7 points. Now, still on the World Cup qualifiers, Congo's World Cup chances has been given a huge lift, and they will fancy their chances against the Black Stars with news that skipper Asamoah Gyan will not be part of the travelling contingent for the game on Tuesday. The 31-year-old has been heavily criticised following his performance in the 1-1 draw against Congo. Well, in an interview with TV3 Sports, Gyan admits the latest groin injury is a reflection of how the last 24 months has been. He also believes there are strikers who have the potential to step into his shoes.
I'm feeling a bit of pain in my groin, and I think I overstretched, so the scan is going to determine whether I can play or not. It's all about being very, very confident, because it's not that easy to replace somebody who has done so much. It's not very, very easy. It's not that easy. But as I said earlier, we've got a lot of young, hungry players coming up. I'm just an experienced player, as you said. For the past 3 years, it has been very, very difficult for me, talking about fitness level and stuff. But I always try to use my experience and everything. It's not. Sometimes somebody might say, "Oh, he's done." Somebody might say, "Oh, Asamoah Gyan is done," but for me, I don't think I'm done. It's just the circumstances. But as you said, there'll be somebody who can replace me. And when I'm on the field, I try to do my job, which is the goal scoring. Sometimes I try to psych the other guys that are coming and say, "Listen, you don't have to be thinking about what people are gonna say when you do the wrong thing. Just go all out, because when you score today, you are the best player in the world. When you don't score, you are the bad player. So just be yourself and then do everything."
Well, it's still World Cup qualification period, and let's look at some of the fixtures for the 4th round of the African top fixtures. Now, we have Group B, we have Cameroon versus Nigeria, and Group B again, Algeria versus Zambia. Now, with Group C, we have Ivory Coast versus Gabon and Mali versus Morocco. With Group D, Burkina Faso versus Senegal, and Group E, Congo versus Ghana. Well, that's the return leg. We also have Group E again, Egypt versus Uganda. Now, let's move on and do some more stories. And Ghana forward Abdul Majid Waris has rejoined his teammates at French Division 2 side Lorient after his reported move to West Ham United fell apart. The 25-year-old will now have his psyche himself and get back to playing in the 2nd division. The Ghanaian, having impressed last season with 9 league goals to his name and attracting some of the best clubs in Europe, the forward has steeled for a switch to the English Premier League. Lorient have a mixed start as the season, having played 5 league games, winning 3, losing 1 and drawing the other 1. Now, still in the world of football, and to a former Manchester United great, Wayne Rooney has insisted there will be no going back on his decision to retire from England duty in a bid to at last enjoy a successful World Cup campaign. The former England captain, charged with drink driving on Friday, retired from international football last month, having scored a national record 53 goals in 119 appearances that included 3 World Cups and 3 European Championships. And the Everton striker said even the fact that the 2018 World Cup in Russia was on the horizon will not lead him to change his decision. And that's all for sports here on New Day on TV3. I am Solis Rose Quarte. Do join us at midday for more sports news. We'll be right back after this.
Welcome back. So let's talk health now. We are discussing a very interesting finding that Send Ghana conducted a research to find exactly what the amount, which is 0.5%, that is being allocated to the District Assembly's Common Fund to help with HIV/AIDS is being used for, and whether it's adequate or not. But of course, we'll talk about the prevalence of HIV/AIDS and give you a little detail into HIV/AIDS so you can follow this discussion. But joining me here, I have Mr. Emmanuel Beluziba. He's the President for NAP Plus Ghana. Also, Mr. Edem Kawu Bahini. He's the Vice President for Ghana HIV and AIDS Network. And then Mr. Adamu Mukaila, Civil Society Advisor, People for Health Project and Send Ghana. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you.
So let's start off with HIV. Of course, it's one of the top 10 causes of death in Ghana. But how prevalent is it? Is it something that is coming down over the years, the trend, or are we still high up there?
Thank you very much. Good morning to your cherished viewers. Let me start by saying HIV, when it started in Ghana, was very high.
Right.
It went all the way to 3.4%. But with the education, advocacy, treatment, care and support, it started coming down, till 2014. It came down to 1.6%.
Right.
Now, we sat back and for some reasons, got complacent, and then the prevalence started rising gradually again. So as of 2015 or 2016, it's risen up to 2.4 again. So you realize that HIV prevalence has gone down, but gradually it's coming up again.
Right.
Therefore, we need to talk more, we need to do more education, we need to do more advocacy, so that the prevalence will go down or we can sustain it.
Very well. But so does it mean, I mean, obviously you've studied the terrain, doesn't mean we're not doing something right when it comes to HIV/AIDS? Because education was, you know, out there when it started, it was very, we were almost always talking about HIV, and then it went down a bit. Is it really only the education that we should be focusing on?
No, we have to do a holistic issue. It's not just about prevention. We do education, prevention, treatment, care and support. Advocacy and all that, we need to be involved in everything. But the fact is that, like you said earlier on, we started with education very seriously.
Yes.
Every day on the media, in the press, and then everywhere, the churches. But we relaxed, and the education came down. And because of that, the prevalence has started rising.
Very well.
So the knowledge that people had before, you know, it's like old issues. So now new issues are coming, and people are tend to forgetting what we said earlier on. And because of that, a lot of misconceptions are coming up. A lot of new issues are coming up. So the HIV education has gone down.
Right.
And people have forgotten what we said earlier on about HIV, the mode of transmission, the mode of prevention, and all that we need to do. People have forgotten it.
Right.
And now there are a lot of misconceptions and lies about people injecting people with HIV, people pouring HIV in Coke and then sharing. I mean, HIV cannot survive in Coca-Cola.
Exactly.
HIV cannot even survive in ordinary water. You understand?
Yeah.
So we should stop that, spreading those lies and rumors about HIV. You know, there's one thing that is affecting our work so much. There's a rumor that people are going around, want to check your pulse or want to check your blood pressure, and then they inject you. How can you use the cuff that you used to check your blood pressure to inject? It is not an injection.
Not possible.
It's impossible.
Yeah.
So those things are rumors and they are lies. Please don't believe those things, and let's focus on the the modes of transmission is 1, through unprotected sexual intercourse, 2, through a mother-to-child transmission from either during birth, before birth, during birth, or after birth, and then through sharing of the cutting and piercing instruments. That is the way or mode of transmission.
Very well.
Exactly. So we should be aware of these things. You cannot spread HIV through Coca-Cola and water and orange. I hear those oranges that has those red lines in them.
Yeah.
I mean, people are saying it's laced with HIV. It's not true.
So
please.
definitely that won't be true. So the education will still be intensified.
Education is, we need to consistently continue education.
Very well. But let's talk about the research. People for Health Project. You conducted a research. What exactly were you looking at?
Basically, we wanted to see the commitment of the government of Ghana in fighting HIV. And if you look at the district level, the 0.5 for HIV program is basically meant for HIV program. So we wanted to ascertain whether that money is even enough to help in eradicating the disease at the district level, and 2, whether there's a guideline as to how to use the 0.5, whether these guidelines were being followed by MMD. So basically these are the reasons why we did the research.
So what were your findings? Is that 0.5, based on the research, adequate to support people living with HIV/AIDS?
Thank you very much. It's highly inadequate. We did a study in 15 districts across northern, Greater Accra, and then eastern region. And for the 3 years, 2014, 2015, 2016, if you put the total HIV funding that goes into the district, you put the 15 districts together, it's less than 430 Ghana cedis. So on average, each assembly received less than 10,000 Ghana cedis for HIV programs. This is highly inadequate, considering the fact that what they have to do at the district level. Ghana AIDS Commission came out with guidelines as to how to use the 0.5. They have 5 thematic areas that you need to spend the money on. Now, if you consider the 5 thematic areas, and you have less than 10,000 Ghana cedis for HIV programs, it means that we are not doing well as a nation. We need to put in more effort to be able to eliminate the disease by the year 2030.
Well, for NAPLAS Ghana, what's your role in all this, in fighting the HIV/AIDS menace?
Oh yeah, NAPLAS Ghana is the direct affected populations. We are the people with HIV that support to benefit treatment and also support from the common funds, the 0.5%. The Ghana AIDS Commission came out with an act. Even before then, this 0.5% had been there. But like the research rightly indicated, because it's the inadequacies that has actually caused a lot of harm to the people with HIV at the grassroots. This funding had 4 areas that is supposed to work. That is coordinations, mitigations, and educations. The Act has committees, the national HIV committees, the regional AIDS committees, and the district committees, which the people with HIV are a member to the district AIDS committees. And that is where the people with HIV are able to send the report, what they are going through, being in the health sector, those who are bedridden, cannot even afford to transport to hospital. That is the platform where the representative from the person living with HIV at the district level are able to send this information and pay their duty. They're supposed to gather all this information and take actions on them. And that is where it is necessary that the research now showing that there is a need for government to really, show commitment by increasing it to 2%. So that the committees at the district level, apart from that, some amount should be given to the people with HIV who are working for those bedridden who cannot afford. The committees itself support to also monitor at the health sectors to see whether they are really up and doing. we have the example. Let me just cite an example, the necessity of government, calling for government to increase on this, into 2%.
From 0.5% to 2%.
Right now, when you go to the three northern region, per the treatment guide, every person with HIV supposed to monitor the viral loads every 6 months to, see whether he's corresponding to treatment or not. Yeah. But there are people who are being taken antiretroviral in the three northern region, even part of the southern sector, who have never even known their viral load. Right. Probably some have even passed on. And it's possible because they don't have the access to monitor their viral load, they must have that side effect and even pass on. And that is why of late we still see, with all the opportunity with antiretroviral drug, but people still died of HIV, which is not supposed to be. True. So it is now that with this research, it is now an eye-opener that government really have to look at this as a critical areas, or else you are not safe. Because HIV have no respect of your position or who you are. So that is why we are calling on this platform.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. So on that note, I guess we all as Ghanaians will advocate for that 0.5% to be increased to 2%, for the catering of persons living with HIV/AIDS, so that as a whole nation we can move forward. Anyway, this is all time we'll afford. As we'll take a break, we'll be back with another interview, so stay with us right here on NewDay.
Welcome back, and thank you. To wrap up the show for today on NewDay on TV3, we want to talk about the long-standing feud between the Alavanyos and the Nkonyas. There's been a lot of activity happening around there recently, and the peace-building process is very crucial to us as a media organization. We would want to involve ourselves in how to push forward this agenda. I've been joined this morning by two lovely queens, Nana Otubia II. She's paramount queen of the Nkonya traditional area, and Mamaga Ameto II. She's also paramount queen of the Alavanyo traditional area. Welcome, royalty. Grateful to have you here. May I have the pleasure of shaking your hands? Absolutely. So how are we doing? Let me ask you, Nana Otubia, how are we doing? Alavanyo and Nkonya. I'm interested in the relationship between you two and the peace-building process. How is it moving on?
Yes, first of all, I would like to say good morning to the good people of Nkonya traditional area and my paramount chief, Nana Okoto III, who is the president of the Nkonya Traditional Council.
Right.
Yes, we are still on with the peace building process. I can speak for myself, because I've been organizing workshops, sensitizing the youth about the need for us to have peace, so that we can have other developmental projects in our area. I stand to lose because we have the district capital in Nkonya. We have so many agencies in Nkonya, and the need for investor confidence is very paramount to me. And so if there is conflict in my area, it's going to deter investors for coming to my area. And so I'm very passionate when it comes to this conflict. And now, if I may say, it's no more conflict. It has taken a whole different dimension. It's now a criminal activity, where it's like a sniper going to lay ambush for poor people and then shoot at them, and the entire community take blame on that. So the need to name and shame those individuals that are perpetrating this crime is very important. It behoves on Mamaga and myself to come out with a project that maybe will curb this crime.
Mamaga, let me ask you your perspective of the peace-building process so far. How far have we come? What do you see?
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity given this morning. And I want to say good morning to the viewers and the people of Alavanyo and my paramount chief. Yeah, for the peace, it's a very vital thing that we all need in Alavanyo and Konya. For now, we are all doing our best, talking to the youth and the victims so that peace will prevail, because it's long overdue. In Alavanyo, we organize events for youth and tell them what's peace and why we need peace. Why does peace? But there's a lot of issues that are coming across that I think we should look at. Issues like what you want to mention? Like the political aspect, traditional aspect, and then security aspect. Right. These three are not coming together. Okay. So that we have one idea to work together. This is the problem.
Have we mentioned these things? If the political actors, traditional actors, and the security as well, have we mentioned it to them?
Yeah, we mentioned several times to them. Right. That if traditional, we want to do something, instead of them to buy the idea and let us move together to one direction, they also have different direction and moving forward. So these are deviating the peace processing.
I see a striking similarity in both of you queens have said, that you try to organize your people, workshops and events to try and sensitize the people about peace. But I'm interested in the young people who may be the prime perpetrators of these things. You mentioned criminality, Nana Otubia. So how do we get respite for the victims and those who are affected by it? Does the peace process consider it?
Yes, I think so. You know, she mentioned the security and other stakeholders in making sure we have peace in our traditional area. I want to say that the security have been up and doing in my area, because whenever there is an incident and I call on the security, whether I'm around or not, the swift intervention with which they, get into the scene, I'm so grateful.
Mamaga, is this the same in your place? When you call them, do they answer swiftly? Right.
So, you know, the security cannot be at all the place at all the time. Right. And most of the places that this thing the crimes are being committed, the securities are not privy to the route to that area. So the onus lies on us, the traditional leaders, to, brief the security as to how and when incidents are about to happen. Right. And so I will not be here to, chastise the security. I will rather say kudos to them, because they've been of a very help to us. And then coming back to the youth, as you are saying, yes, of course, the youth are going to take the mantle from us. We are going to fade out in this thing. And so my targets mainly is the youth. So I'm engaging other peace building components that will come and help me to sensitize them. It's education, to create the awareness that, look, you are destroying your own very future that we are laying for you. So there is no need. As for the old people that are buying arms for you, trading the arms.
So people buy arms for them?
I'm telling you, my last project, I don't know whether you listen, there are some people who are having interest in this conflict, and then they will come and say, oh, we have this arm, we have that, and people are buying it.
Do we know these people who are buying these arms?
I am not privy to, because people will not come and tell me, but I'm telling you that I'm trying to fish out. And I've sent a strong warning to my people that if I should see anybody coming to my traditional area trading in arm, I'll personally give the person out.
Right. Mamaga, let me come to you. So people are victimized, some lose their lives, their families, I'm told some of them do not want to go to the police, but they would rather choose revenge. How are we tackling this bit of it?
Yeah, thank you. I'm not victimized, or I'm not attacking the police. The reason why I said this, the police and security people are part of this, is that when somebody shot dead in the bush in Alavanyo or Nkonya.
Right.
Okay, let me talk about Alavanyo.
Okay.
The police come for the cops.
Right.
That they're going for a test or exam in Accra.
Investigation, right.
Investigation in Accra. And then later on, they'll just call the victim people, come for your cops.
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
After
they
the
come back.
post-mortem?
Yes, they nothing come back that, oh, we have done this is the bullet, you have a patient, we are going to fish out the person out, this and this. They don't do that. So this always trigger the victim people to go for revenge. So if the security people are able to comfort or do the investigation and report to the community, this thing will not be developing.
Wow.
This is my perception.
Interesting. It looks like a mouthful to me, but I wish that would find a lasting solution to this problem. Moving forward, the next stage, let me come to you, Nana, to be. How do we tackle this from your perspective? Already you tell me that you're both working together, but what is the way forward?
Yes, the way forward is we should target the youth and sensitize them and create the awareness that our forefathers have fought this battle for over 90 years. They couldn't win. So what is the probability that you are going to win? And now that it is clear that we are no more fighting over a land. We all know.
We're told that lack of employment could also be a key factor there.
Exactly.
How are we trying to solve that?
Exactly. So they should, for the Nkonya people, I'm saying to them, they should stop the fight so that investors will come to Nkonya. Right. The district assembly will be functioning. We have so many institutions that are not functioning because of this crime. Right. And so the youth, I'm pleading with you, stop this fighting. Recently, when they shot the lady, I said we were not going to retaliate because we have a lot on our hand. And we haven't done so. Only for me to hear this morning that there have been some shooting, which I'm not privy to. I'm yet to get information from her. So I'm pleading with you, the youth of Nkonya. I know you love me and I also love you, but I'll crack the whip when you go astray. So please, don't take the law into your own hands. I know you are disciplined. War is not good. Crime is not good. We are not there for revenge. We will always seek the approval of the security before we act.
Right. Mamaga, you have the final thoughts. So there's criminality, there's royalty, and all of that. I'm looking for a chance for your people at Alavanyo to have jobs to do so they'll be kept busy and not foment trouble. What do you say to them?
Yeah, thank you. This morning, I hope my people are hearing my voice here. I want to play with the youth that they should not take the law into their hands. Always there's a beginning for something and there's an end. So I want them to, whatever is happening, they should have it in the back of their mind. And let's move forward for development. Without that, development will not come to Alavanyo. So please.
Thank you very much.
You see, Mamaga and myself, we are very good friends from the House of Chiefs.
Exactly.
We do everything together. So the youth should not think
just
that,
emulate your example. Perhaps you should shake hands for them to see that you are friends.
She has been coming to me in Nkonya.
But you don't come. That's the problem.
Okay, she doesn't come. Okay, here's the deal. Nana Tubia and Mamaga, prepare a wonderful dish. And I'll come so we can both have it in Alavanyo. Yes, we
so
can.
Don't look at
the
us
whole thing is about trust.
Right.
If you break the trust, I'll be going to Nkonya every day.
Yeah.
Even the midnight.
It is true.
But she doesn't come.
She doesn't come.
I will come.
No, to be you should go.
I'll go.
Let's go this weekend.
Yes.
We'll go this weekend. Thank you very much. So we hope that the young people out there have seen that your queen mothers themselves are friends. Let's be friends. This is the only country that we have. And incidentally, you belong to one region. Please, I beg you. Thank you very much, Lano Tubia, the second paramount queen of the Nkonya traditional area, and Mamaga Ameto the second. She's also paramount queen of the Alavanyo traditional area. We'll try and get you some more detail on Midday Live on TV3. We'll return to wrap up the conversation here on NewDay. Stay with us. So that's how the cookie crumbles here on NewDay Monday edition. Thank you very much for staying, Amma.
Yeah. We'll see them same time
tomorrow. We have a cocoa business to do here.
No, what's
that face you did today?
Fasting for the black stars.
No. Is it worth putting your stomach down for them like that? No. It's for myself and my spiritual focus.
Anyway, so we'll see you again tomorrow, hopefully. I'll be on your radio, 3FM 92.7, 5:30 with Speak Your Mind. Calling and speak your mind about everything. Black Stars, Smith, Nkonya, Alavanyo, anything. Speak.
Again, Johnny's head.
We'll see. Say again.
Your head cried.
Oh no, we'll talk about Bryce. Yeah, Bryce.
Anyway, guys,
Right.
so see you same time tomorrow, 6 to 9 a.m. right here on NewDay.
Alrighty.
Bryce, wait something.
Okay, see you tomorrow. Have a good day. Bye for now.